The diner was nearly empty that cold Tuesday morning, save for the sound of clinking cutlery and the hum of a faulty ceiling fan. Outside, a light snow dusted the pavement, frosting over the windows like a memory frozen in time. Emily tightened her apron and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. At 23, she worked double shifts 6 days a week at Daisy's Diner, just outside Milwaukee, to help pay off her late mother's medical bills. She never complained, not to customers, not to coworkers, and definitely not to herself. Life hadn't been easy, but it had taught her two things: to keep smiling, and to never underestimate the healing power of a warm cup of coffee. That morning, as she refilled sugar jars and stacked menus for the lunch rush, the bell above the door jingled. In walked a man, mid-40s maybe, wearing a threadbare coat too thin for the weather. His beard was peppered with gray, and he held the hand of a little girl no older than 6. Her shoes were scuffed, and her cheeks flushed red from the cold. Emily noticed the way the man scanned the menu on the wall with quiet desperation, calculating, perhaps, whether the few bills in his wallet could stretch far enough for a single breakfast. Emily walked over, smile soft and genuine. "Hi there. Just the two of you this morning?" The man nodded, his eyes kind but tired. "Yeah. Just coffee, please. 1 cup." Emily glanced down at the girl, who looked longingly at a stack of pancakes pictured on the menu. She remembered that look. She used to wear it too, on nights when her mom skipped dinner so she could eat. Something tugged deep in her chest. "Coming right up," Emily said, turning away quickly before her heart spilled through her expression. In the kitchen, she poured 2 cups of coffee, 1 decaf, extra cream and sugar for the girl, and asked the cook to prepare 2 plates of pancakes. She paid for them herself, using the last of her tips from the night before. When she set the plates down, the man blinked in disbelief. We didn't order this." Emily shrugged with a smile. "Must be a kitchen mix-up. Don't worry about it." The man stared at her, and something flickered in his eyes: gratefulness, shame, maybe even disbelief. His voice caught as he whispered, "Thank you." They ate slowly, savoring each bite. Emily kept an eye on them from behind the counter. The little girl laughed once, quietly, and the sound of it made Emily's chest ache in the best way. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have guessed, was that the man sitting at booth number 7 was none other than Charles Remington, reclusive founder of one of the country's largest tech companies. A self-made billionaire. 10 years ago, his wife died in a car crash, and his grief swallowed him whole. The world knew him as a genius investor. But fame meant nothing to a man who couldn't sleep through the night without dreaming of the life he'd lost. He had stepped away from his empire a year ago, selling most of his shares, walking away from boardrooms and luxury suites. He had taken custody of his niece, Lily, after her parents passed suddenly. Though the world believed he was still traveling Europe, he had spent the last 6 months trying to remember what it meant to simply live, and more importantly, to love. The riches in his account did nothing to ease the loneliness that crept in like a tide each night. Charles and Lily finished their meal slowly. As they left, he pressed a note into Emily's hand, thanked her once more, and disappeared into the morning mist. She unfolded the paper absent-mindedly, expecting a thank you scribble or maybe a forgotten receipt. But it wasn't a note. It was a check. For $10,000. She gasped, nearly dropping it. Scrawled in neat cursive were the words, "For your kindness." It changed everything today. No name, no address, just a gesture that felt too big for her hands. Emily stumbled back into the kitchen, eyes wide and heart racing. The cook, an older woman named Maria, caught her and steadied her. "What happened?" Emily just held up the check in disbelief. "I gave a little." He gave everything. That night, the diner buzzed with whispers of the mystery customer. Emily went home, unsure what to do. Her instinct wasn't to keep the money. It was to use it wisely, in a way that honored the moment. So she did something wild. She fixed up her old laptop and created a small online fund to pay it forward. She titled it the Booth Number 7 Fund and wrote, "A stranger changed my life today," with a thank you that felt too big. I want to keep it going, for him, for his little girl, for everyone who just needs one small act of kindness to keep going. The page went viral within days. Donations poured in, stories were shared. People from all over the country wrote about how a small gesture, free coffee, a warm coat, a meal for a stranger, had changed their day, even their life. Emily used the money to help single parents, veterans, and students drowning in debt. Local news picked up the story. Then national news. But still, the mysterious man from booth number 7 never reappeared. Until one snowy morning, nearly a year later, a sleek black car pulled up in front of Daisy's diner. Emily, now wearing a new apron with the words "Kindness Served Daily," stood wiping down the counter when the door opened. There he was. This time in a proper coat, holding Lily's hand again. She was taller now, her cheeks rosier, her smile bright and confident. "You're back," Emily said, stunned. Charles stepped forward and handed her a letter. "I've been following what you did. With the fund. With your heart." His voice wavered slightly. "I never meant to disappear, but I needed time to see what the world looked like when I wasn't hiding behind money. And you reminded me of what mattered." He reached out his hand. "I'd like to help more. Properly. You have the heart. I have the resources. Let's build something beautiful." Emily stared at him, her throat tightening with emotion. She remembered the man who had ordered a single coffee, the little girl who looked at pancakes like they were gold. And now, here they were, offering something far more valuable than any tip, hope. They partnered over the next few years, opening community cafes around the country under the name Booth Number 7, where anyone, no matter how little they had, could come in and eat with dignity. The walls were covered in handwritten notes from people whose lives had been touched by kindness. People often asked Emily if she had any regrets about buying that coffee. She'd just smile and say, "I didn't buy him coffee. I gave him a reason to believe again." And he gave that back to the world. Because in a world that often felt harsh and divided, a poor waitress and a lonely millionaire had reminded everyone that the smallest acts of kindness can ripple out in ways you never see coming. And that sometimes, the richest people aren't the ones with the most money, but the ones who give the most away.